Okay, so today is 6.5, creating polynomial equations. And so there are guided notes today. If you want to go to the folder and get the guided notes, please feel free to do so. Otherwise, you can write this in your notebook. It doesn't really matter. But the questions are like word problems, sort of. So that's why we have guided notes if you want them. So yesterday, or a few lessons ago, we learned about the factored form, right? And we learned that the factored form generally follows this pattern. So we have f of x equals a parentheses x minus r1, and remember these are the roots. These are the roots. This is what you get when you solve. X minus r2, x minus r3, and it can keep going depending on how many roots you have, right? So these right here are all different roots. And this right here, the a, is your leading coefficient, okay? And just so y'all remember, we should know this by now, but f of x is just like the same thing as y, right? So this is our general form for factored form. What we're going to be talking about today is how we can create equations in standard form when we're given some information. Okay, so we're going to be doing 2 problems. It is a lot of algebra, so the practice is actually only, I think, 4 problems. Okay, so this question says the function f of x is a cubic function, and the zeros of f of x are -4, 1, and 4. The y-intercept of f of x is -64, sorry. Write the equation of the cubic polynomial in standard form. So I'm going to start by writing out our key information. So we know the zeros are -4, 1, and 4, right? We also know that the y-intercept is -64. That actually means we know a point, because remember, the y-intercept is where the graph crosses the y-axis. So we actually know that this point now exists in the polynomial. So we're going to use our general form that we talked about here, right? So I'm going to just rewrite it, f of x. You don't have to rewrite it if you don't want to. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to substitute my zeros, right? Roots and zeros are the same thing. I'm going to substitute them in for the r's, okay? So I'm going to have f of x equals a x minus -4, x minus 1, and x minus 4. All I've done is I've substituted in the zeros in for the r's. I'll just highlight this as well so that you understand, right? And so now we're going to simplify. So we have f of x equals a, well, 2 negatives become a plus, so x plus 4. I can just write this as x minus 1 and x minus 4. Now, here's the thing. We don't know our a yet, but we can actually figure out our a by using this point right here, right? Because we have an x value now, and we have a y value. And remember, y is the same thing as f of x. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to plug this point now into the equation. So instead of f of x, I'm going to write -64 equals, I still don't know what a is, but I know now my x is 0. So 0 plus 4, 0 minus 1, and 0 minus 4. From here now, I can simplify and solve for a. So I still have -64 equals a parentheses 4, 0 minus 1 is -1, 0 minus 4 is -4. I can keep simplifying. -64 equals a. If I multiply these things together, I get 16, because 4 times -1 is -4. -4 times -4 is 16. And then I can solve for a by dividing both sides by 16. So a actually equals -4. Okay? So what I'm going to do now is I am going to, now that I know what a is, I'm going to plug it back into the equation, right? So now we know our zeros and we know our a's. So our equation is f of x equals, well, now I know a is -4, parentheses x plus 4, x minus 1, and x minus 4. Now that I have the equation in standard form, factored form, we should know how to go to standard form, right? I'm going to start by doing the area model. So I'm going to do the area model for the first two parentheses. I'm going to have x plus 4 and x minus 1. So I have x squared, 4x minus 1x. This should be review, right? And so this gives me these, I can combine. I have x squared plus 3x minus 4. Now I need to take that and multiply it with my last parentheses. So I'm going to make a 3 by 2 box, right? Because my answer from last time is going to go, and then x minus 4 will go on the side. So again, I'm doing it again. 3x squared minus 4x minus 4x squared minus 12x, 16. And I can combine like terms. So I'm going to get, remember, I still have my a. So I have f of x equals -4 parentheses, and now I'm going to focus on the box, right? So I have x to the third. If I combine these, I'm going to have minus 1x squared. If I combine these, I'm going to have minus 16x plus 16. And the last step now is I am going to distribute the -4 to everything. So my final answer, my equation in standard form, is going to be -4x to the third plus 4x squared plus 64x minus 64. So fun, right? It's a lot of algebra, so just be careful with your work. Make sure you write out your steps nicely, because there's a lot of areas where you can make tiny mistakes. Okay, for the next question, I'm just gonna start it for you guys, but you don't have to finish it, okay? So this question is saying the function f of x is a quartic function with the zeros of f of x are -5, -4, -3, and -2. Assuming the leading coefficient is 1, write the equation of the quartic polynomial in standard form. Okay, so now I'm given some important information. My zeros are -5, -4, -3, and -2, and I know that the leading coefficient is 1, right? So when I'm looking at my general form, again, you don't have to write this out so many times. I'm just writing it so we can see it. I now know my A. My A is 1, and I know my zeros, right? So, oh no, there's music playing. Okay, so I can write it out like this. Hopefully y'all can still hear me. So my A is 1, and then I'm going to plug in my zeros. It's really unfortunate timing. Okay, so I have my third zero, x minus -3, and then I have one more zero, which is x minus -2. Oh, the music might have stopped. Okay, so now I can simplify this, right? I can write it as f of x equals 1, and then x plus 5, x plus 4, x plus 3, and x plus 2. I'm going to stop this problem here, but basically, you don't have to solve for A this time. You can go straight to just box methoding. And if I were you, I would do two by 2 boxes, and then box method your answers from there, okay? In the practice, though, I'm not going to ask you to do a quartic function. Actually, I think I do ask you to do one. So you don't have to finish this problem right now. Just go ahead and start practice.